we go. Hello and welcome to Mock Code and Restraints. In this room, we will be reviewing the 2020 ACLS guideline changes, when to initiate a code blue, skills assessment, and application of restraints. Your patient, Mr. Jones, was just bit by a zombie. To prevent his conversion into a full-blown zombie, you have to save him. There are 5 doses of zombie antidote hidden inside this room. As a team, search and find them. You may start looking for your antidotes.
We have 5? 5.
So you have found all 5 antidotes. So on the back of them, you actually have your 2020 ACLS guideline changes. Let's go around and review what they are.
I have debriefing after code event to promote psychological safety.
Excellent.
Defib role is also CPR coach.
Yes, so the defibrillator role will now be providing audio-visual feedback for the compressor to give information on the quality and quantity of their compressions.
I have first dose of atropine is now 1 milligram. It needs to be 0.5.
Absolutely.
Lidocaine or amiodarone can now be used in shockable rhythms after third shock.
So before, we only gave amiodarone and shockable rhythms if we got through those 3 shocks. So now the provider will have the option for lidocaine as well.
Early administration of epi for non-shockable rhythms.
Yep. The only thing we can do for non-shockable rhythms is CPR and epi. So really focusing on early administration of epi is super important for our patients. So excellent job finding your antidotes, and we've identified the big changes of the 2020 ACLS guidelines. Let's review our tech review before we start our mock code. Remember, mock codes are offered once a month, actually 2 to 3 times a month, depending on the service line, and it is an expectation that you do them annually. So talk to your educator so that you can sign up for one. Our code cart is a real defibrillator. We have mock medications in here, so you can administer those to your patient, Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones has very sensitive skin, so make sure you're wearing gloves so that you don't damage his skin. And make sure your pens are capped so you're not giving him any tattoos. He does have bilateral carotid pulses and a radial pulse that you can feel for. And he can talk to you as well. You can do compressions on him. So Mr. Jones is starting to act funny. I think the zombie transition is beginning. To save Mr. Jones, you must accept your role in the code. All right. So Mr. Jones is actually calling for help right now. Can my team leader go assess him?
Yes, I can. Hi, Mr. Jones. My name is Hannah. I'm your nurse. Mr. Jones? He's not breathing. I don't feel a pulse. I'm calling a code blue.
Excellent.
Start with compressions on him.
I will change you out.
Thank you so
I'll
much.
do your airway.
I'm recording.
28, 29, 30.
Pretend that,
Two.
Are you doing compressions? We are. Got our patient hooked up to the monitors.
25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30.
1, 2.
Before we continue on, how long should any interruption in CPR take?
Less than 10 seconds.
Absolutely, less than 10 seconds. Excellent when assessing a pulse. Resume.
Okay, so we have him on the monitor. Let's go ahead and see what his rhythm is. Got compressions.
So I put it on there.
I think it's
It looks like
defib.
it looks like defib. Okay, we're going to continue compressions. My defibrillator person.
You want me to actually charge them? Yeah. We're gonna charge. Everyone clear? Everyone's clear? Administering shock. Resume compression.
Excellent. You can use one of your antidotes right now.
Or the defib role is CPR coach.
Yes, you can use the defibril as the
26,
CPR
27,
coach.
28, 29, 30.
And you
I have
can,
this one.
I'm feeling okay.
so in a shockable rhythm, what are the steps that you can do after your first shock?
Shock. Lucky Shot, amiodarone, or
Or
lidocaine.
lidocaine, excellent. So you've given 2 antidotes for Mr. Jones. It looks like Mr. Jones is starting to show an organized rhythm.
Oh, yeah.
Organized
Does he have a
rhythm. Do we
pulse?
have a pulse? No.
It looks like
Oh, that's
PA.
PA. Oh, no.
Continue compressions.
When's the last time we gave epi?
3 minutes ago.
Oh, you can go ahead and give epi right now.
That will be another one of your antidotes.
Oh yeah, early administration of epi for non-shockable rhythms.
Perfect, so that's 3
9:30.
antidotes that you've given to Mr. Jones. What are the 2 things that we can do for non-shockable rhythms?
Compressions and epi.
Compressions and epi. It looks like our antidotes are starting to work. I think Mr. Jones has a slight pulse, but let's see what his rhythm is. Your 4th antidote might help you.
Brady.
Bradycardia.
40s.
I have the first dose of atropine, 1 milligram can be given.
Excellent. Your team has successfully achieved ROS, but his zombie transformation is not stopped until your team gives the last dose of antidote. What does the last dose of antidote say?
Debriefing after code event to promote psychological safety.
Absolutely. So one thing that's really important is, in healthcare, it's a very stressful job. We don't debrief enough after these things. So debriefing, making sure everyone's okay, making sure you use your resources like the chaplain available to you. This is something we have to bring up and talk about so that we can, let out our frustrations. We can talk about what went well in the code or what didn't go so well. What could be better for next time. All right, so you saved Mr. Jones, but he's very agitated. The antidote can have a side effect on people. What are some ways we can calm Mr. Jones down?
Reorient him,
Good, reorienting him. What else?
maybe call his family to talk to him,
Call his family, see if they can come to the bedside,
bring him to the nursing station.
closer to the nurse's station for
Give him
safety.
some towels to fold.
Oh,
Feed him.
that's a great thing, diverting activities.
You can do it at a nursing station also.
You could use mitts or a lap belt if he's trying to get up without calling for you. So you tried all these things, and Mr. Jones, it's not working for him. He's actually becoming combative now.
Restrain him.
We have to apply restraints for both his safety and ours. As a team, let's restrain Mr. Jones to the bed.
A code
Oh,
fell
look,
out.
a code fell out. Do we need that?
You'll need to save that code for your next room.
Okay.
It might help you along the way.
Oh, this isn't too tight. I can put 2 fingers between there.
That's to make sure you
I
have,
am tied to an unmovable part of the bed.
make sure you're tied to an unmovable part of the bed and that you have a self-releasing knot. Excellent job. Great job. While we wait for Mr. Jones to calm down, we have 2 more things to talk about. Where do we document restraints, and what should we be offering Mr. Jones every 2 hours? Let me show you a little helpful hint we have for you on where you can document restraints from the IHOC form, or the ad hoc forms.
Oh, I didn't know the forms were in that a lot.
So we have forms for nonviolent restraints and for violent restraints. So for when you're initiating the nonviolent restraints, make sure you are doing the initiation form Q shift on initiation and discontinuation. And then your monitoring form will be every 2 hours if nonviolent and every 1 hour if violent restraints. What things should we be offering Mr. Jones every 2 hours while he's in restraints?
Toileting, positioning, food.
Fluids. Excellent. Great job, guys. You guys have saved Mr. Jones from his zombie transformation. It's best we move along to your next room so we can give Mr. Jones some time to rest.